curse beneath the sands. Egypt, 1922. The sun had just begun to rise over the Valley of the Kings, its golden rays spilling across the barren cliffs and deep crevices of the ancient necropolis. The air was thick with anticipation, and perhaps something more. Something old, watching, waiting. Howard Carter stood at the threshold of destiny, sweat beading on his brow as he brushed away the last of the sand covering the sealed doorway. The carved cartouche was unmistakable. "Tutankhamun," he whispered. Behind him, Lord Carnarvon stepped forward, his breath caught in his throat. "Can you see anything?" he asked. "Yes," Carter replied, his voice low, almost reverent. "Wonderful things. But not all that is wonderful is benign." Chapter 1. The Whispering Dust. That night, as the team celebrated, a wind rose from the desert, unusual for the season. It whispered through the tents, carrying with it the scent of myrrh and something fouler, decay. Dr. Richard Hale, a British archaeologist assisting Carter's team, was among the first to sense something amiss. While others drank and laughed, Hale sat outside his tent, scribbling in his journal by lantern light. "There's a weight to the air. An invisible hand pressed against my chest. I dreamed of a boy king tonight. His eyes were hollow, and he called my name, though his mouth never moved. In the distance, a jackal howled." Chapter 2. The Unsealing. On November 29th, 1922, the tomb was unsealed. As the stone slab shifted, a chill rushed out from the darkness within. It was not just the cool of undisturbed air. It was ancient. Inside, golden treasures glittered, statues, chariots, unguents, and at the heart, the gilded sarcophagus of the boy king himself. The walls were covered in hieroglyphs, prayers to Osiris and warnings to the living. One read, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the king's rest." The inscription was dismissed by most as a theatrical flourish, not by Hale. That night, he dreamt again. This time, the boy king bled black ichor, and behind him stood Anubis, jackal-headed god of the underworld. The god raised a finger to Hale's lips in silence, then turned and vanished into shadow. Chapter 3. The First Death in March 1923. Lord Carnarvon was bitten by a mosquito. A small wound, insignificant, until it became infected. Within days, he was dead. The lights in Cairo reportedly went out at the exact moment of his death. At that same moment, thousands of miles away in England, Carnarvon's dog let out a mournful howl and dropped dead. Newspapers were quick to print the legend, "The Curse of the Pharaoh." Carter called it coincidence, but Hale knew better. His dreams became waking visions. The walls of the tomb breathed. Shadows shifted when no one moved. He began to hear chanting, not from the workers, but from within the stone itself. He started keeping a charm of Horus around his neck. He stopped sleeping. Chapter 4. The Chamber Beyond. Despite mounting superstition, Carter pressed on. In January 1924, the final burial chamber was opened. The sarcophagus was lifted, revealing 3 nested coffins, each more ornate than the last. Inside the final, solid gold coffin lay Tutankhamun, his face serene, his body preserved for over 3,000 years. As the lid was opened, Hale collapsed. They found him in a catatonic state, muttering in ancient Egyptian, a language he only partially knew. When he awoke, he screamed until his voice broke. "They're coming," he rasped. He wasn't alone in there. That night, one of the Egyptian workers, young Nabil, vanished. His body was never found, just a trail of disturbed sand leading away from camp and into the hills. Chapter 5. The Priest's Curse. In the days following, Hale refused to re-enter the tomb. He sought out an old Coptic priest in Luxor, who led him to a half-blind hermit said to be a descendant of the ancient keepers of the tombs. The hermit listened, then handed Hale a papyrus scroll. The boy king was cursed not by accident, but by design, the old man whispered. He was entombed by priests of Amun, who feared his return. They sealed his Ka, the spirit, along with the creatures that served him in life. But their bindings were weakened by the unsealing. Hale opened the scroll. It showed a ritual, a binding of the 4 cardinal elements: earth, wind, fire, water, a means to imprison what had been loosed. But if they are not bound again, the hermit warned, they will reclaim what is theirs, one by one. Chapter 6. Descent. Over the next year, 6 more members of the expedition died under mysterious circumstances. An engineer drowned in his bath, no sign of struggle. A photographer fell ill and spoke of a shadowy figure watching him before he died. A financier of the dig perished in a house fire caused by no known source. Hale became obsessed. He began collecting relics from the tomb, seeking to perform the ritual described in the scroll. Carter tried to stop him. "You're feeding the madness," he warned. "No," Hale replied. "I'm trying to stop it." On the winter solstice, 1925, Hale descended into the burial chamber alone. He placed the relics, an obsidian scarab, a lotus chalice, a strand of the king's funeral shroud, and a gold amulet shaped like the eye of Ra, at the 4 corners of the chamber. He began to chant. The air grew thick. The flames of his torch turned blue. Then came the wind. Chapter 7. Awakening. The tomb groaned. A figure emerged from the shadows. The boy king, but not as he was in death. His skin shimmered like gold leaf, and his eyes burned with sunfire. Behind him slithered creatures half seen, serpents with human faces, beetles the size of dogs, and a black lion with no mouth. "You broke the seal," the king said. "You called me forth. I seek to return you to rest," Hale answered, holding up the amulet. But the king raised a hand. "You do not understand. The curse was not punishment. It was protection from what I became." The tomb shook. The coffins cracked. Something larger stirred. Chapter 8. The choice. Hale faced a decision. He could complete the ritual and seal the tomb forever, but doing so would cost him his life. The final ingredient was blood freely given, or he could flee and let the spirits roam. He made his choice. As the sun rose above the valley, a single scream echoed from the tomb. Then silence. When Carter and the others arrived, they found the chamber as it was before. Silent, still, and empty. Hale was gone, but the amulet lay at the center, cracked in 2. The air no longer felt heavy. The shadows no longer moved. The curse, it seemed, had lifted. Epilogue. The price of discovery. In the years that followed, the legend of the curse grew. Books were written, films were made. Most dismissed it as myth. But Carter never returned to another tomb. And when he died in 1939, a note was found among his things. We opened the door to something we did not understand, and Richard Hale closed it with his life. May the sands keep their silence forever. And far beneath the valley, sealed in shadow and stone, a whisper lingers still. Not all tombs are meant to be opened. Tombs are meant